Welcome back guys. Now let's continue with the passive transport. We have already discussed about the active transport, the two types of active transport, that's the primary active transport and secondary active transport. Now let's see the passive transport. Already I have taught you that passive transport is of two types, that is diffusion and osmosis. Okay, diffusion and osmosis. Guys, just try to recollect. What is the mnemonic I gave you for primary active transport? The primary active transporters will be identified with the words ending with ATPases or pumps. Secondary active transporters will be identified with the words ending with co-transporters, importers. In the same way, how to identify this diffusion? You know, there are two types of diffusion, simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion. First, I will explain you. Later, you will understand how to easily identify it. Okay? See, now let me draw cell membrane. Imagine here I am showing you the cell membrane. Okay, here I am showing you the cell membrane, a membrane. Here is a cell membrane. Guys, now let's look on one side of the cell membrane. I am taking a substance X, let's say. Okay, these green color dots which I am showing here, these are the X, let's say some X. Now on one side of the cell membrane, that's the extracellular side, there is more X molecules. On the other side, the X molecules are very, very less. Okay, so here there is high concentration, here there is low concentration. Now this X substance will easily go from high concentration to low concentration. Okay, so now such kind of transport is called as, when a substance is moving from high concentration to low concentration, this is called as simple diffusion. Okay, simple diffusion. Now let's see, here on one side of the cell membrane I am showing a lot of glucose molecules. Okay, lot of glucose molecules. On the other side, inside the cell, there is less amount of glucose. Here there is less amount of glucose. Outside more glucose, inside less glucose. So again here higher concentration, here there is low concentration. Now a glucose can go from high concentration to low concentration, no doubt. But the problem is the size of the glucose molecule is very, very big. So these glucose molecules, they cannot cross the cell membrane. That's why there is a transporter here. Here there is a transporter which is helping in the movement of the glucose from high concentration to low concentration. So still this is diffusion because the substance is moving from high concentration to low concentration, diffusion. But this diffusion, it is being facilitated, it's being facilitated with the help of this protein. So that's why it is called as a facilitated diffusion, facilitated diffusion. So now tell me, what is the difference between a simple diffusion and facilitated diffusion? Sir, in simple diffusion, there is no protein involved. Okay, there simply the substance is moving from high concentration to low concentration, that's it. But in facilitated diffusion, the substance is going from high concentration to low concentration still, but it is being facilitated with the help of a protein, maybe a carrier protein or a channel protein is helping here. So what is the name of this protein? Now this is called as a GLUT. Okay, glucose transporter. Glucose transporter, there are different types of GLUTs, are there. So now tell me, wherever you see the word from today, GLUT, wherever you see the word GLUT, all GLUTs are examples of what? Facilitated diffusion. So how to remember this for your exam? Remember it like GF. You know, girlfriend, GF means girlfriend. So always remember. So GF stands for all glucose transporters, all GLUTs are examples of facilitated diffusion. All GLUTs are examples of facilitated diffusion. Okay. Now, what is the substance X in this condition? Maybe oxygen. So oxygen, it is going from high partial pressure to low partial pressure, from high concentration to low concentration, you can say. Okay, so what is simple diffusion? What are the examples of simple diffusion? Gaseous transport like oxygen transport, carbon dioxide transport, where the gases are moving from high partial pressure to low partial pressure. There is no need of any transporters, no need of any proteins. Simply the oxygen will diffuse through the membrane because gases are lipid soluble. So oxygen transport, carbon dioxide transport, examples of the simple diffusion. And what are the examples of facilitated diffusion? All GLUTs. Wherever you see the word GLUTs, all GLUTs are examples of facilitated diffusion. Now, where are these GLUT transporters present? This is very, very important for your exam. Sir, GLUT1, glucose transporter type 1. Yes, of course, it is an example of facilitated diffusion. But where is it present? For your exams, you should remember this GLUT1 is present in RBC, brain and placenta. Okay, RBC, brain and placenta, especially important RBC. In the RBC, how the RBC is getting the glucose? With the help of glucose transporter type 1, brain, glucose transporter type 1. Next, GLUT2. Already question has been asked. GLUT2, glucose transporter type 2. Where is it present? It is present in 4 places. That is liver, pancreas, small intestine and PCT. Okay, PCT. GLUT2 is present in all these areas. But In one of the exam, the question was asked, GLUT2 is mainly present in, and these 4 options were there. If you are having all these 4 options and if you have to select only one, GLUT2 is mainly present in liver. Liver should be your answer. Okay, this is a main site. Main site. Next, GLUT3 is present in the central nervous system. Not that important, you can forget about it. GLUT4 is very, very important. Very, very important MCQ. GLUT4. So, where is this GLUT4 present? Where is it present and where it is moving the glucose? It is present in skeletal muscles and adipose tissue. But the expression of GLUT4, okay, the production of GLUT4 is dependent on a hormone called as insulin. So, in the presence of insulin, whenever there is insulin, insulin will go and act on skeletal muscles and adipose tissue. Whenever insulin is stimulating these adipocytes and skeletal muscles, now these adipocytes and skeletal muscles, what do they produce? They produce glucose transporter type 4. With the help of glucose transporter type 4, they will absorb the glucose, they will uptake the glucose into the cells. Okay. Next, GLUT5. GLUT5. Wherever you see the 5 stands for F5. So, F for fructose transporter. Okay. So, GLUT5, fructose transporter. Where is it present? Sperms and intestine. Okay. It's present in the sperms, intestine, fructose transporter. That's it. So, doesn't matter whatever the GLUT is, doesn't matter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, doesn't matter. All are examples of what? All are examples of facilitated diffusion. All glucose transporters, facilitated diffusion. Okay. Next, after the GLUTs, now let's discuss about the osmosis. See, how to understand osmosis? Let's imagine I am taking a beaker A and beaker B. 2 beakers I am taking with the water. Now, look here, what is the osmolarity of the beaker number A? The osmolarity of the beaker number A, let's say it is 100 milliosmoles. And the osmolarity of the beaker number B is 10 milliosmoles. A, B, 100, 10. Now, osmolarity is dependent on what? Osmolarity, this property of osmolarity is dependent on the solutes, number of ions. More the number of ions, more osmolarity, less the number of ions, less osmolarity. For example, now I am saying here, there is more osmolarity, 100, more osmolarity, sir. More osmolarity means more number of ions should be there in the fluid. So, here there is more sodium. Okay, so more the sodium, more osmolarity. Less the sodium, less osmolarity. So, osmolarity is dependent on what? Solute. Now, tell me, you already know wherever there is sodium, water will always tries to go towards the sodium because sodium is highly osmotic, it absorbs the water. So, wherever there is more sodium, water will go towards the sodium, which means water always go from low osmolarity towards high osmolarity. Okay, low to high osmolarity. High osmolarity means what? More number of solutes are there. Wherever there are solutes will automatically drag the water. Okay. So, always remember osmosis is for water. Which movement? Water movement. Gas movement is simple diffusion. Water movement is via osmosis. Always osmosis is from low osmolarity towards high osmolarity. Okay. So, write movement of water from low towards high osmolarity. This is called as osmosis. Now, in one of the recent exams, this question was asked. Question was like, which of the following is insulin dependent glut? What is the insulin dependent glut, guys? The insulin dependent glut is GLUT4. Insulin independent gluts, all others are insulin independent gluts. Fructose transporter, GLUT5. Okay, so now let's have a recap. Guys, tell me, how many types of active transport are there? There are 2 types of active transport, primary active, secondary active. Primary active transporters, all ATPases and pumps. Secondary active transport, all co-transporters, importers and antiporters. How to identify diffusion? There are 2 types of diffusion, simple diffusion, facilitated diffusion. All gaseous transports are examples of simple diffusion. Facilitated diffusion, glucose, all gluts are examples of facilitated diffusion. And water movement occurs via the osmosis from low osmolarity towards high osmolarity. Osmolarity depends on what? Osmolarity depends on the solutes. More the number of solutes, more osmolarity, less the number of solutes, less osmolarity. So, with this, what we have completed? We have also completed the passive transport, that is diffusion and osmosis. In the next video, I will be discussing about a special type of transport called as a vesicular transport. Hope the video is helpful. Thank you.